Welcome back to another episode of After the Final Rose with Alana and Dante. Last night's episode of The Bachelorette was dramatic to say the least, and I don't know if it was the best episode for Claire. And this season it's going in a direction that I don't think people want it to go in.
Or thought it would. Honestly, I speechless. I'm not speechless because I'm gonna go off today, but I don't even know where to start because you started the episode feeling so bad for Claire, and then I ended the episode literally wanting to shut off my TV and want nothing to do with the Bachelor franchise anymore. It was just
Yeah, so
awful.
it was awful. Yeah, and the episode started off. Yosef, we kind of all saw this coming from the previews of last week and how Yosef was talking about the group date, but he brought it up to Claire how he didn't find it respectful that she had the guys strip for the
He wasn't on
dodgeball
the
game.
date.
Yeah, and he wasn't even on the date. And he just started digging into Claire, and she was just sitting there taking it. You could tell she was ready to unleash, but
Oh yeah.
and then they started getting in arguments saying it was kind of like reliving Claire's season, but they were like, I would never want my daughter or child to have a mother/father like you.
Yeah, that was tough. Listening to him say that, he interrupted her when she went to say my mom is dying and like literally kept talking over her. And then what else? He was like, I can't remember, but I feel like he kept downing what she was saying and called her classless. He just was going off on her. Like,
Exactly.
oh my God, I was not expecting that. Like, I know we saw previews of him being like, you're the oldest bachelorette, but everything else he said, I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay. He's really got an opinion.
I definitely don't think like there was no way he was going to go out of that like staying. So I wonder if he just wanted to
No.
go out being remembered. Like he
I
should
mean,
have just went out with
maybe.
class and be like, "This isn't. I don't think we're meant to be, so I'm gonna leave." But wow, Yosef.
Oh my God, he even was like, I'm ashamed. Once he said, I'm ashamed to be with you or like around you, I was like, he's done. Like, there's no saving
Yeah.
yourself after that one. But I was pretty impressed because she did yell at him and was like, you weren't even on, like, that's why you weren't on this date. Like, I didn't ask you to be on the
Yeah.
date. I didn't want you there. Why are you complaining about it? And then, of course, we see Mr. Dale come to the rescue, which I know
Oh, of
that was
course.
planned. Production was like, go get her, because where were all the other guys? Like, I there was only a small group outside that saw it, and then I was like, wait, isn't she on a full blown cocktail party? Like, where's everyone else? And here comes Dale
Yeah.
to the rescue, like with
Oh,
all
of
the
course.
perfect words to say to her.
Yeah. I mean, you knew Dow was gonna come in. I'm sure maybe a producer was like, "Claire's over there. Go get her.
Crying,
She's
yeah,
crying. Dal, it's your
yeah.
time to shine." But after all this, Claire was in distraught. She was pretty upset. And once again, no cocktail party. These poor guys, they're not getting any time with Claire.
They're
It's
not.
literally all drama. The last cocktail party, we saw Yosef once again
Yeah.
and the whole Tyler drama, and they didn't get to actually get a cocktail party.
Dude, I said it in the
And you
first
really saw it
episode.
because
I
go
was just
on.
gonna say they should have kept Tyler C. She should have sent home Yosef. Like,
Yeah.
did you learn your lesson? You should have kept him.
Yeah, and I mean, the literally at least what we saw, the guys that didn't get time to actually talk to her were the ones that got sent home.
Yep. Yeah, they were not happy. And I don't know if you heard her, but it's episode 3, and she already said that she's falling in love with Dale. So I was like, why are you leaving? Like, you don't really hear that from them until like one of the last few episodes. You
Yeah,
hear from the contestants, but not the actual Bachelor.
yeah. Claire is just an interesting bachelorette, and this whole season's just been confusing and annoying in a way to say the least. But then, so we move on to the next day. She sent the guys home. I believe there were 4 of them, and
Yeah,
so
we're
there's
left
18
with
guys left.
18. Yep.
Yep. But the next day, she talks to Deanna. That's her name, correct?
Yeah, or Deanna.
One,
I don't, yeah.
yeah, the Bachelorette from about 13 years ago, and
Yeah.
all she wanted to talk about was Dal. Shocker, that's this season. But then she started smelling Dal's pants.
That was weird. Like, I don't even remember. Do you remember seeing him? I
No,
know he ripped them, but I don't remember him giving them to her.
yeah, I don't either, which
That
is
was
weird.
really weird. All the stuff that she does, though, like, if this was anyone else and they kept the season going on, this would never, like, they would never get away with it. But because I think it's like out in the open that she is going to end the season and they have someone as a backup, they're like, whatever, let's air it out.
Well, the thing is, like with what you just said, like they're making it so obvious, and we're gonna talk. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it later. To them literally giving it all away in next week's episode
Mm-hmm.
with how the episode ends.
Yeah.
But it's literally the Dal show.
So something I thought was really funny, and I know they did this on purpose, but I felt so bad for the guys, was when she's having her conversation with Deanna, they go back and forth and back and
Oh
forth.
yeah.
And they show her constantly talking about Dale, and then they show the guys getting all amped up, being like, oh my God, I feel so confident about, like, they all have a date with her today. Well, they think. And they're like, oh my God, I feel so confident. Like, she definitely likes us. Like, and then you just switch back over to her and she's telling Deanna like Dale's the only one that she right now is in love with and all this stuff. And it's like these poor guys have no idea that she's literally sitting in her room right now, just giving it up on all of them.
And they waited. They said they waited, I think 4 hours, 3 or 4
All
hours
day.
just to go on their date. And then she shows up and she's like, "We're not going on the date. Sorry guys. We're just gonna hang out and talk and have a cocktail party." But like these once again, these guys get their time cut short because of now Dal. Because Claire, I just don't think Claire has the respect for these guys. And she's not even giving them the fair chance and their date.
No, and like honestly, this may be one of the first seasons that like I feel like usually when there is a rose ceremony, you can kind of guess like who she's gonna keep or he and like who they're gonna send home. But so far, every single episode, I literally couldn't tell you who she's gonna keep and who she's gonna send home. Like Dale is the only person that she's made any interest in. Like everyone else, not even like maybe Blake, but there's not a single guy that I'm like, oh yeah, no, she's definitely like keeping him. Like no one. It's a shock.
Yeah, and that's a big issue into the next group date because Dal once again is the center of attention and took time away from all the other guys.
See, I didn't think that was fair because she kind of bit herself in the foot right there because she told those guys that she canceled the date so she could have a really long cocktail party with them. But she didn't even hang out with them. She only hung out with Dale. So it was like, you should have never said that because you put it in these guys' minds that they were going to have all this time with you. And you maybe spent, I mean, we don't know how long the conversations actually go for because you only see a little bit of it. But what it felt like was 5 minutes with each guy.
Yeah. I think one of the guys said it, but he was like 30 minutes is how long she was away with Dal.
Some of them said 45, some said an hour.
Yeah. And, I get it. Your relationship has progressed with Dal. So the thing is give these other guys a chance to like solidify that.
She doesn't want to.
It's definitely Dal. I know she doesn't want to. Like she doesn't want to give them a chance.
Yeah. And it's normal for any other person in the real world, but you're not on the real world dating, you're on The Bachelor. Like, yes, if you're out at a bar and you meet a guy and you're really interested in him, any other guy that comes up to you and tries to conversate, you're not going to give him the time of day. And I get that. But you're on a show where you're literally have 18 guys right now fighting for you. You have to give them time. Like, that's not fair. And I think she just like, she shows Dale and she's like, I don't really need to give it the time. But she doesn't even give herself like the benefit of the doubt and like at least makes it look like she's trying. Like she's totally just like, I only want to hang out with Dale. Like you look awful.
Yeah. And building off what you said, like this season's unlike no other because the amount of, like they're sacrificing a lot to be there because we have a pandemic going on and they had to quarantine. I'm sure they're getting tested like every day, every other day. Like this wasn't easy coming and like she's not giving them the respect they deserve when she's not the only one that put her life on the line. Like 30 other men put their life on the line.
And did you Was I the only one who thought that Dale was either like high on life or like when he was talking, he seemed very
Mm-hmm.
weird. Like I don't think he was drunk, but I know they do drink. Like he just seemed like he couldn't formulate a sentence. And it's like, are you like not able to like defend yourself? You just ramble on. Like nothing when the guys confronted him about him spending
Oh
like
yeah.
an hour with her. And then even when Easy walked in and finally like took charge, which I was so happy about, he was just like he kept
Yeah.
giggling.
Yeah, and he was like, he came back and completely lied. He was like, we were laughing hysterically. We were dying. It's like,
Yeah, but he didn't tell what they were laughing about. It was so
I know.
weird.
The whole situation was awkward. And then we move on about 5 minutes later, and Dow goes to get more time, and he walks in the room, and he's like, oh, oh. Because he
Yeah,
didn't,
he
he
tried to
said
play it
he,
off.
yeah, he said
Yeah.
he didn't know that they were in there, but like, come on. And then it was just so
Yeah.
awkward. I wish, I don't remember who was on that date or who was talking to Claire at the time, but I wish he would have just been
Ivan.
like,
No, no,
no.
no, no. It wasn't Ivan. I'm sorry.
It was
It,
Jay.
yes.
Jay. I wish Jay
Yes.
would have just been like, no. Like, no. You don't get more
Yeah.
time. You already spent half an hour with her.
See, I really thought that because, she is the oldest bachelorette, that she would have more respect for these guys and that she would have done what we've seen in past. I think Hannah B actually did it a few times where when a guy tried to cut her off, she's like, you know what? We just started talking. Like, can you give us a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
time? Like, I'll come find you when I'm ready. She totally was just like, oh,
She
hey,
didn't
Dale,
care.
what's up? Yeah. And I lost all respect for her. The fact that she then like ends it, like she literally was it oh maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but she literally ends it and then goes and gives him the rose, and like I feel like either she's doing this or the
Oh,
show is turning him into a villain,
yeah.
and it
That
makes
was
you
a
not
huge
like
slap in the
him.
face. Yeah, I thought
Not
that was a
fair.
huge slap in the face to the guys. It was
Yeah.
just, and I think that was the point where they were like, this, I don't think it's us. And we
But
see that
also,
in later in the episode.
yeah, but like if you think about it, another moment where you're like, but who else would she give the rose to? She didn't have any, or they don't
Exactly.
show you like any valuable conversations. Not a single conversation she's had with these guys. Even Dal, honestly, has any information come out. Like I don't know anything about these guys. Literally nothing. Like
Literally
what are you
nothing.
even
The
talking
only the
about?
only other person we've actually like semi learned about is Blake, but that's not even like we really don't know anything about him. It's just Dal, Dal, and Dal.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
not.
oh, I can't wait to talk about the second group date because once again, Dal, Dal, Dal. But we move on to the one-on-one date with Zach J, which just got kind of uncomfortable. But they went on a
Yeah.
spa date, and
A
once again
spa
they talked
date
about
is tough to take a
it
guy
is
on because guys like I mean, my boyfriend I would never take on a spa date because he has ticklish feet. Like literally, guys are not
I did think that was funny.
like I think my mom our mom finally got our dad after like what all these years to get a pedicure and he was losing his mind. Like guys don't like their feet touched.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a tough date to bring one of the guys on, but like they need something because it's hard to plan dates while you're stuck in a resort. And I'm sure that was
Yeah.
like easily accessible because there's already a spa like I'm sure built into that
Oh yeah,
resort
yeah.
where they can easily just set up a date. But I kind of feel bad for Zach J.
Yeah, the
But
date I
then
was
we
excited
got
because
in
I feel like we don't
yeah.
really know much about him, so I was really excited to like learn more about him. And they barely even talked. It was so uncomfortable. And then yeah, what you were gonna say was they went to the pool and that whole thing. Like I meant to watch it back this morning because um
I didn't
in
even notice.
I didn't
Like
either.
the
I didn't
kiss.
think I thought he leaned in. So they were in the pool. She apparently leaned in to kiss him, and she claims that he pulled away. I didn't see that. I saw him lean in. Like he looked like he was leaning in. I personally think she used that as an excuse to get out of
Oh,
the date
probably.
because she even said they show her. in the interview, and I think she said she wished Dale was on that date with her. And I think that she was like, how do I get out of this date? So she made it about her and she made it about her past. And listen, I'm not shaming. Like, I know she had a rough past with boyfriends, not taking that away from her. But come on, the guy at least let him explain
I
himself. And she
know.
was like, I have no reason to, like, I don't need to know his excuse. He tried to stop me and blah, blah, blah. Like, because he was so caught off guard, because in his mind, he leaned in to kiss you and you just were like, no, no, I'll see you at the date. And that's like, this started everything for the rest of the night. I was just pissed.
That's something I can't wait for Men Tell All, because I hope he,
Oh, yeah.
well, we'll talk about it in a sec, but I hope he confronts her about
So do I. He
what
deserves
happened
to.
at the end of the night. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little uncomfortable when he kind of grabbed her neck, which was like weird. And
Yeah.
then it was definitely some. I mean, I don't think he had like bad intentions, but he definitely
No.
grabbed like her shoulder and her neck, which can be questionable. Like in terms of, she said like something along the lines like she's had abuse in relationships, and like that's something she didn't like.
Yeah.
But I,
But how's he
I
supposed to know that? She hasn't even given him a chance to like
right?
get to know her. But also like I I don't know, I was so taken back because I get it. He probably was so uncomfortable, and you're right. The way he handled it, grabbing her and stuff, was probably not the best way to go about it. But he probably didn't know what to do because he's like, "Wait, what do you mean? Like maybe I need to like show more passion." And she was just like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
Then what totally set me off, and I'm not kidding you, I almost turned on my TV. If anyone follows me on Instagram, you saw my story because I literally went off on my story. She doesn't even show up to dinner, and she sends Chris Harrison to send him home. How? Oh my God. I was so
Yeah,
mad. I was
I
texting
thought
you
that
like,
was
this is bullshit.
yeah, I thought that was extremely disrespectful of her. Like, you want these guys to put it on the line and like give you their all, but you can't even tell them like it's not gonna work out,
She literally had Chris Harrison break up with him. That's like sending your mom or dad to
right?
go break up with your boyfriend for you. Like, grow up. You are 40 years old. Like, go tell him, I didn't like the way what you did to me. I think you need to go home. And at least give the guy a chance to explain himself. Like, you
Yeah.
literally just, I felt so bad for him. That was like totally like justice for Zach J, because that was not fair. Like, I don't care. I'm all about women empowerment, but Claire, come on. That was BS.
Yeah. I you could kind of sense, I mean, this is Chris's job, but you can sense he was a little uncomfortable
He
just by
probably
how he
was.
was talking. But oh man.
I
And
was
that's
just
tough. And
like,
I think Zach J, I think he might be a character if what it looks like Tasha's gonna be coming in soon. I think he could be somebody they bring back
I hope so, because
because
I actually liked
yeah,
him and I wanted to get to know him more. And he's very handsome. Like, I think he could have done, like, oh my God. I don't even know what to say. I'm so mad. I was livid.
yeah. So I hope he is somebody that if all these Tasha's rumors are true, which it looks like to be, that they bring him back and actually give him a chance and a real date with somebody that can respect him and actually give him the
Yeah, he
time of
deserves
day.
that.
But
I,
that's pretty much all the one-on-one. What?
nothing. I'm just,
That's pretty much
it
all the one-on-one.
makes me mad.
It makes you mad. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of people mad, and I think that
Yeah,
this is
you,
one of the tipping points with Claire. It's
oh
one of the tipping
yeah.
points with Claire in this episode. And it does not stop
It
there.
doesn't
We
get
move on
better.
to the we move on to the group date, which is a roast, and the roast turned into I see. I thought they were supposed to roast like the other guys that are
Yeah,
a part of like the group date,
they did that on
but they
purpose.
didn't. Oh yeah. And
100%.
they brought in all the other guys that were on the group date, and Dad was one of those guys. So they were in the audience, and the roast was all about Dal, which I thought was so funny. And he was like, bring it on, which I liked, but it's also like a cocky demeanor in a way
No,
because
I
he was
thought
like,
he handled himself well
yeah, I do too. I
for
mean,
being
I
ripped
don't know.
apart like that.
Claire
And
did. Yeah. I thought some of the guys were so funny.
I
And
did. However, I do think that that was planned by Bachelor. They are looking for ways to make these guys not like Dale. And I don't know if it's because they're ready to send them both off, but that was ridiculous. Why did you need to bring those guys? They already had a date. Let them stay at home. The other guys didn't
Yeah.
get to attend the group date, the cocktail party, and let them roast each other. And then it was like they all roasted Dale. And yes, like of course all it's funny. Yeah, like everyone. Some of it I will say, like, I thought Ben's was funny when he said the like wedding thing, like, oh yeah,
The
like
wedding, yeah.
that was funny, but some of it just weren't funny. They were kind of harsh. And I don't mean in the sense like his feelings were not hurt. Like, I'm not like, oh, they were mean to him. But some of them were just like uncomfortably not funny. Like, I was just like, ugh, it was cringeworthy.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. I think some of the people that, I mean, I think every guy dug into
Mhm.
Dale.
They
I
did.
know, even Ben said it. He was like, I had 40 jokes, but one was about Dale, which became like a center of attention. Um, but yeah, Bennett, on the
Oh
other
my
hand, Bennett was
God.
digging into Dal. What's so funny is I don't think any of his jokes were like funny.
No, they
It's
weren't.
just
That's why
they
I
were
was
just
so
digging on there.
uncomfortable.
He has like this Harvard humor, which he did go to Harvard, and none of his jokes were funny, but he was
Oh,
just
that's what it
digging
was.
in.
One of the guys actually made a joke at him and said like something about Mark Zuckerberg and going to Harvard. So I was like, okay, this
Yeah,
isn't all going to be about Dale. Like this is kind of funny. And then every other guy's was about him. And I was like, are they look like they complain that everything's about him, but then they made all their jokes towards
mm-hmm.
him. So of course Claire's going to be like, what? Like, why don't these
Yeah.
guys like him? They were like trying to expose him, but I don't think it worked for them.
Yeah, something I love about Bennett is he is literally the real life Clark Kent. Like he
Yes.
looks
Oh yeah.
exactly like Clark Kent would look like,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Yep.
so funny.
Yeah. He
But
does.
so in most of the guys' roasts, they also mentioned that Dale is, he sees himself as the front runner and that he's above everybody else. And once we moved on from the roast, that was all they talked about when they talked with
Yeah.
Claire, and
That was
that
tough.
that was extremely annoying because literally I don't think any of the guys talked about anything else.
No.
And all Claire wanted to talk about was Dale and why they were all going in on him in the roast. And she got some answers too. And then she just kept asking the other guys, and that made me so mad.
I was actually pretty impressed that I think that a lot of times on Bachelor things get dramatized a little bit too much. And when the guys or girls are accused of talking about someone, or they're getting questioned like, oh, what did we've seen it where someone confronts Claire and is like, oh, this person said that. And then she goes and talks to them and it just gets blown out of proportion. They actually all stuck with the same story, which was he
Literally.
said he is the best man suited. Every single
Suited,
one of them
yeah.
said it. Not one of them tried to exaggerate because they were like, this is what came out of his mouth. And the crazy thing is, she literally was just like, well, what does that mean? Well, what do you mean? Like, you know what that means. He thinks he's a front runner. Like,
Right.
she was digging and digging, looking for information, but
And she got it.
she did, but it's not like she was looking for information so she could send him home. She just, I think,
Oh,
wanted to talk about him. Like, you weren't going to send him home, so
literally.
why were you looking for the negatives?
And I was talking about something before about what Ben said, and he was like, I had 35 jokes before I said one thing about Dal, but our whole conversation with Claire was about Dal. And
Yeah.
that's the issue. That's the whole issue with this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about Dal.
And
And
you
it's
could
getting
tell
to the point where it's annoying.
those guys were trying to change the subject. Like every single one of them was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but like, why don't we move on from that and like, have a conversation with just us? And she was like, well, no, I want to know more. And it was like, oh my God, these poor guys like are literally throwing themselves at you.
Mm-hmm.
When last episode you were complaining that none of them would talk to you or give you the time of day. And they're
Literally.
sitting here ready to give you the time of day. And you talk about Dale the whole time. And you know what?
Yep.
Kenny made a great point when he was talking to the guys, and this is why I love Kenny. He said, it was finally clicking to him. He said, she hasn't shown interest in anyone else. And he was right. And we see that because she doesn't give any of them a rose.
Yep. And Bennett was the one person, and he was like, "No, see, I just don't see it that
I
way." And
know.
then Claire comes in, and she doesn't give anyone the rose. And I think you saw at that moment in Bennett's face, he was like, "Nope, it's none of us. It's none of us,"
I
because he shot his head back and was like, "I'm done. I'm
when
done." And
Claire
I don't condone what Yosef said, but some of the points he hit in the beginning of the episode were
Yep.
spot on. Were
Yep.
spot on.
No, 100% agree. Like the way he handled himself, you don't talk to a woman like that. I agree. But some
Oh,
of the stuff
definitely
he
not.
said her true character came out tonight because the second she didn't give anyone a rose, I literally was like, I'm done. I lost all respect for her. Like, and then she tried to make it like a woman, empowerment thing. Like, oh, I gave myself a rose. I gave Claire. She
Yeah,
deserves
that
a.
was so cringy.
No, you did that because you only wanted to give Dale a rose, not because you wanted
Oh
to
yeah.
like put yourself up there and think, none of those men deserve it. All of those men deserved it. You didn't give them a stinking chance to show you it. Not one of them got to no one in that episode. Like, I have not learned a single thing about any of these guys. No one.
Yeah. And the thing is like, I saw a lot of people arguing. They're like, well, hey, at least Claire's finding love, and that's what she was here for. But like, there's also, you got to give the other guys the respect. Like, you're
Yeah.
not so why are we respecting Claire if she's not respecting the other guys?
I
And
remember
that's what
listening.
just spoils.
I listened to a podcast. I think it might have been Ashley I and Ben's, and they were interviewing Rachel Lindsay. This was like a year or two ago, and she had said she knew it was oh my god, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Who's Rachel Lindsay with?
Brian?
Yes, she knew it was Brian like 4 episodes in, but she
Oh yeah.
said that she
I think I
still
listened to
can.
this one too.
Yeah, she still continued with the show because these guys are all here for you, and so we have seen it in episodes where some of these contestants literally fall for two different people. So she was like, I want to still
Yeah.
get to know all these other guys. She knew her stronger feelings were towards Brian, but she still gave them a chance, and I don't think Claire's doing that. Like, just because it's Dale doesn't mean you need to completely give up on the show. And something that really
Yeah.
struck a chord with me is, and it's been all over social media, and I think this has just stirred the pot with people, is she said, I'm not going to sit here after they dished on
Oh
my
yeah.
fiance so hard. She's already calling him her fiance. So I want to know if that was added in later, like she said it later on when they end up like leaving together, or if she actually said that
Well,
way
she was in the
before
same dress though. She was in that same yellow. Oh, she could have. Okay,
they
yeah,
added
they
the
could have taken the
snippet
audio.
over. Yes.
Yeah. They could have done that. It's
For her
just
sake, I hope that's the
everything
case.
with Claire. And the thing is what you were saying about Rachel and knowing. Like, I wish Claire would give them the time so she knows I can knock this guy out. And she's
Yes.
like, wouldn't you want to know that you didn't I guess
Right.
miss out, and that it's definitely Dale in the end, rather than being like, I'm throwing all my eggs in one basket, it's Dale and I'm done. I'm not gonna give
Yeah.
these guys the
Well,
respect,
she's
and I'm
done
not gonna
that.
give them
She's done that on all her other seasons. Like,
yeah.
I had said from day one when they announced Claire that she was going to be such an awful bachelorette. And then the first episode, I was like, okay, like maybe we'll give her a try, maybe not bad, but she might be. I seriously, in my opinion, she's the worst bachelorette I've ever seen in Bachelor history. Like, respect wise for these
What's
guys,
yeah.
she's just awful. And if a guy did this to a girl, if a bachelor did this to girls, oh my God.
Well, you know what that makes me think of is looking back, and we give Juan Pablo so much crap, but what makes Claire any different
Any
from Juan
better.
Pablo?
Yep.
Like, she said how disrespectful Juan Pablo was, but right now, why is she any different? She's gonna continue to lead these guys on like she says Juan Pablo did, but
Yep.
she's just gonna pick
She's doing
Dale.
the same thing. You're so right.
And it's
But
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what? Really interesting. But I was looking at I follow Tia on Instagram, and she actually said on her story last night that from her experience, so we saw that a lot of the guys in the first group date were like mad because they got no time with Claire because Dale had it all. And she said that like literally everybody gets time. Like if you want to go talk to them, you just tell producers like I want to go, and they are like, okay, Claire, Zach J is ready to ready to head in and talk to you. Like she kind of exposed it and was like, no, these guys do get time, but either Bachelor just didn't show it or they didn't even want them to talk. They just wanted Claire and Dale to have their time because yeah, Tia
Hmm.
was like, no, we get time. Like whoever wants to talk can talk. Like no one is denied the opportunity.
Yeah. I just I hope and I believe that we are going to see and thankfully we are
I
going to see
know.
one more episode with Claire. I think it's going to be one more, and then if you watch to the very last second of
Thank
last
God I
night's
did.
episode, you see Tasha coming out of the water, which I thought was very interesting because I
Yeah.
feel like you should have led one, the video, two, they should have given more suspense because they literally give it away. I've noticed that
Yeah.
so much with the season. They give away everything, which they never do. Um, but finally, some hope we're going to get an authentic Bachelorette in this
Yeah.
season.
Thank God. I'm no joke. They showed her at the end and I was screaming yes because I was like, thank God. Because I was seriously ready to just give up. I was like, if they don't show me Tasha or give me some type of hope, I'm not watching any more episodes because it's so bad. Like, oh my God, I was just so I'm so happy they showed Tasha. And of course, if anyone
Hmm.
follows her on Instagram, she posted a picture last night
I
and the
saw
caption
that.
said, "You rang," which made me so happy because I was like, finally, like, I really hope last week it just is, or last week, next week, we're just done with her because we're all ready to move on. I don't even care if her and
Hmm.
Dale end up together or not. Like, please move on.
Yeah, I'm very curious to how this is all gonna end because you see all the guys packing up their suitcases, and then we're gonna see them. I mean, the thing is I don't think many of those guys are going to have feelings for Claire anymore. And a big question was like, how are they just gonna drop their feelings and go after Tasha? But at this point, I don't
Right.
think they have any feelings for Claire, so it's not gonna be
Very
that
true.
much of a like a controversial thing where they like this person and now they like this person. So
Yep, I
I'm very
agree.
curious to see how they bring in Tasha and how many guys are going to start off, and are they going to bring guys back? Like what are they going to do? So I'm excited to see. Just let's get Claire out.
I do hope they bring some new guys only because I mean I think she just turned 30, so those guys are a
Mhm.
good age range.
They
But
are.
I also don't know if I see a lot of them with Tasha now that I've like seen them fighting for Claire. So hopefully, but no one knows like if they bring new guys or if I know that
Hmm.
it's been rumored that they will allow those guys to stay, which they should. But what if some of them are like, I'm not even interested in her. Like I don't want anything
Then
to do
yeah,
with her,
I'm
and
sure
they
we'll
have to
see a
go
couple of those
home.
guys. Oh, I'm sure we'll see a few of those guys. Who just quickly, who are some of the guys you think could end up with Tasha at the end? I think it's like a reach because we don't know anything. But like, who are some guys you think could be there with Tasha at the end?
I don't know because her men, her types are so different. She went
They
from
vary.
Colton
Yeah,
to JPJ, and there was someone else. Was it Derek that
it was
she
Derek.
was?
Yeah,
So those are three guys that are not very similar.
yeah, very
Um,
different.
maybe I could see Blake kind of reminds me of Derek a little bit. So maybe Blake.
I like Jordan C. I think he's the one with the glasses.
Yep, yep.
Um, I also like
I love
Damar.
Ivan.
Oh yeah, Ivan
Yep,
too.
Damar, Ivan, and Easy are my favorite, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if didn't. Okay, this may be totally off, but was it Tasha that Colton was the first white guy she introduced to her family? Or
Yes. Yes,
So
it was Colin.
maybe she does have a type. I don't know. I mean, there is a big variety still on this show. So, we may
Yeah.
see where one of those three guys are her type.
I could
I
also
really
see
don't know.
maybe Jason
Yeah, I
or
like him. He's
Ben,
cute.
maybe, but I
Mm-hmm.
just don't think we know her type yet.
No. And I
And
don't know
then
any
could
of
they
them.
yeah, could they bring a guy back like Zach J? I think maybe.
So do you
Maybe.
I have a random question for you. There is rumors going around and stuff. Cami sent me like stuff on Twitter
Oh
yesterday
yeah.
that they someone was like, what if Bachelor actually wanted Dale to be the next Bachelor? And then Claire and Dale ended up being a thing and they didn't see that, so they had to replace him with Matt James. And I was like, oh my God. Dale would have been a
Maybe.
great Bachelor.
I think so too. And it
If
would have given them
he,
the perfect position to because they've been wanting to get in an African American bachelor, and he would have been perfect.
I think he would
And
have
a
been good for
football player.
Tasha.
Yeah, that too. But the thing is that I think Matt was picked. Matt was definitely picked prior to the filming of Claire's season.
Oh,
Definitely
okay.
picked because that's the reason why he's not on. But
Yes.
they could have. I mean, they could have picked him, or so they picked the. Say they were interested. They were like, we have these group of guys. I think Dal could be a possible bachelor, and then maybe they talked to Claire and was like, if you had to pick between Matt and Dal, who would you want to pursue? But I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? Honestly, the show is so unpredictable this year. This show couldn't be more 2020 in a nutshell. And I think that's where we need
Yeah,
to end it because
I
this
hope and
show,
pray Matt will well Tasha too first
Tasha and
move it
Matt
back
need
in
to
the right
save us.
direction, but then Matt next season, which we're gonna get about like January 5th, I think. Uh, uh Finally the Bachelor back to like what it is because these past few years and few seasons have
Wow.
been nothing but disaster. Nobody's even together anymore. I think the last
Yep.
couple that are still together are Rachel and Brian because
Yeah.
Colton and Cassie are done. Becca and uh, Garrett broke up.
Yep.
Hannah and Jed never went anywhere. Peter and all four of his final ladies. I mean, he's with Kelly now, but
You know what I said
no.
to myself last night, and that's how bad I know Claire is. I would watch Peter's season all over again rather than go through the torture of what I watched last night. That's
Yeah,
how
Peter
bad she
season was
is.
pretty bad.
Yep.
Yeah, wow, we talked about everything. I hope and pray Claire never listens to this because it was not a good night for
No,
her.
we're not a fan of Claire after last
No,
night.
I can't wait for them to bring in Tasha, and that pretty much wraps up everything here on after the final rose. We had a lot to talk about today, and I think it's good we got it all off our chest. But looking forward to next week. We're not even gonna get the episode of The Bachelorette until Thursday, so I'm not sure when we'll upload our podcast. But because next Tuesday we have the election, so then on Thursday they're going to show the episode of The Bachelorette, which is weird because I don't think they've ever shown The Bachelor or Bachelorette on a Thursday, besides maybe Winter Games. But I think
Yeah, it's
that'll be
always on a Monday
interesting.
or maybe a Tuesday if they have to push it back a day.
Yeah. So yeah, that wraps it up here on After the Final Rose. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at AFTR_podcast and make sure to follow us and like us on our podcast streaming platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, and if you liked our new version of doing a video podcast, let us know because maybe we'll continue to do it. We had to get on here on video just because we had so much emotion and we couldn't, relay it through just audio. But we hope you guys have a great Halloween weekend, safe Halloween weekend. I have my 100% that witch. I thought it was appropriate after last night's episode and because it's Halloween this weekend. But yeah, have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in.